So, what we're gonna use today, 14mm box end wrench, open end wrench. I have ratcheting ones, come in great handy. A 17mm box end open end, an adjustable wrench. This one's a 6-inch, 150mm wide. Just get something small like this. We'll kind of show you how to use that later. A torque wrench. You're gonna need assorted sized ratchets, a rubber mallet or plastic mallet, whichever one you got. Some of this BP is gonna be a lifesaver. Different sized extensions for either one of the ratchets. 17, 18mm, 14, and 12mm sockets. You're also gonna need a 1/4-inch socket with a 3/16 hex bit. This is going to be used for when we take off the actual link itself. This just in case someone doesn't have the actual part like this that comes built together. This is just an easy way to use a little thing like that without having to buy a whole new one. You're also going to need a little gun with a 1/2-inch drive extension on it, so you can use a 19 to take off the wheel or put it on. And some breaker bars. You're gonna need breaker bars to get things loose. So, pretty much this is all you're gonna need. And yeah, let's get to it. So what we're going to be replacing is the sway bar and the end link. You can see that the end link, there's a couple of knobs on here. It's supposed to be 4, but there's only 2. So we're going to have to replace that because this whole thing is completely disconnected from the actual frame itself. So we have a new sway bar and end links that we'll be putting on today. So let's get started. The nut size is 14mm. So use your wrench and your 3/16 Allen key or hex bit to take off the end link. Do this only on the lower part of the end link since we are removing the whole thing. If you are reusing the original sway bar with upgraded links, then do this to both parts of the end link. So now we are taking off the D brackets to remove the old sway bar. Use your 12mm sockets to do so. Now it's time to grease up your bushings. If you do not have some, make sure to buy some for your polyurethane bushings and make sure to apply thoroughly. Now you can put the bushings on the new sway bar. So, our particular kit comes with a sway bar brace. This is going to aid in keeping the rear end a little bit stiffer, especially the subframe. This is going to be held on with this bolt right in here, and then with these 2 bolts on here like this, that's how it's going to get bolted on. So when you're putting this on the car, you have to loosen the bolts that are for the lower control arm. Take those bolts out You have to replace them with these bolts. This will go on here like that. And this spacer goes on the back of that. And this goes through the lower control arm to the back of it, and then it gets all bolted on. We'll show you how that all goes together just to re-clarify everything. But this is what it's going to look like when it's all bolted together, basically. So you have the nut right here, the spacer in the back, and then the frame of everything's going to be right here with the bushing, the lower control arm, and blah, 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 blah. When you're bolting on the actual sway bar, these come with two different types of washers. The small one goes on first, then you get these wide ones. They keep the nut and the small washer from going through the hole right in here. So these will go on just like that. And then once everything's all together, you'll see it. Bolt it on. Like that.
Now you can remove the original lower control arm bolt with a 17mm socket. Take your time on this so it does not break. It will be a pain to try to remove it without the nut. Work the bolt out by using the jack to lift up on the outer part of the lower control arm slightly. This will give enough clearance for the bolt to slide out. Do this one bolt at a time when installing the rear brace. But be careful, do not lift up enough to lift the car off the jack stands. This is very dangerous and can cause serious injury or death. You can now install the new D-bracket and sway bar with the provided hardware. Ours were 16mm bolts to install the D-brackets. Don't tighten them all the way and leave them loose so we can install and torque them down later.
Somebody may have to do this and they'll be like, oh, what do I do?
There we go. Got it loose. Oh, just gotta make sure.
Alright, pause. So, our end links have this guy on here. This nut is attached to the bolt itself. You want to use your adjustable wrench to hold that in place while we put this guy, the little nut with the lock on there, the nylock on there, so we can bolt it all together. If you don't have that adjustable wrench on there, it's not going to be going anywhere. It's just going to spin, spin, spin. You're going to be sitting there for an hour like, what is going on? Hold that all together and you'll be able to put it on just fine. Make sure once it's all somewhat tight, tight enough where the bolt won't actually spin anymore, you can crank on that a little bit more and hold it in place.
Sure that they're handy from each other.
Take it, leave it, come along with me. Love shines so bright. Find it, feel it, baby, shine with me. Love has come along.
To install the end links, use the 17mm nylock supplied and the adjustable wrench.
Something that you might die for. I show you the mind.
Now we can tighten everything down by hand before we torque everything.
Loneliness was your name. Play till my fingers bleeding. Ask if you feel the same.
Okay, let's get torquing. Refer to your manual for your particular vehicle or parts for torque specs.